Hey everybody, this is Mike McCalco once again, and in this section we're going to talk about beginner jazz fills. And these are great because they're usable. And just because we call them beginner jazz fills doesn't mean that you may not use them after you practice them for a while. You're probably going to speed them up, maybe orchestrate them differently around the drum set or whatever to make them something that's going to not sound so beginner anymore. But we have to start somewhere. So let's call them beginner jazz fills. Okay, now we're going to mix and match some ideas with these fills, whether we're going to be playing the single stroke roll. I might give you a few options, maybe playing a right, left, left concept, which I do a lot in jazz, meaning playing 3 notes, 1 on the right, 2 on the left to give me the 3 notes. It's going to kind of be up to you and let you experiment to become your own player, right? Now the first one is basically talking about single stroke roll and just playing it on the snare drum, okay? And what I like to do with this one is accent the quarter notes, and for a few reasons. It sounds cooler, but we could also work on speeding that up to develop almost like utilizing a Moeller technique down the road where we can get faster. But it's just a simple enough fill that gets you through the moment when you have to play a 1-bar fill. So starting off really simple, here's the first one, which is just single stroke roll with quarter notes accented. Okay, so you heard me just sort of repeat that a few times. I mean, you might just want to play it for 1 measure, maybe do something like play 1 measure of jazz time and 1 measure of a fill, something like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Because to me, that's a good practice, because now I get to go between something I can already do and something new. And eventually, it's going to work together in correlation with learning how to play jazz music, okay? Now, you may have noticed that when I did my fill, I kept the hi-hat going on 2 and 4. And that is now autopilot. I don't even think about that anymore. It just happens, okay? Now, a lot of drummers say, well, do I have to do that? You don't have to do anything. I mean, it's up to you. But it's really cool, because it's a sound and it's also keeping time. So if it's going to throw you off your game, no, don't do it. If it's going to completely mess everything up that you're practicing, of course not. If you can do it later down the road, which is probably what I did. I don't remember how exactly that happened. I just think I watched jazz drummers playing and their hi-hat was always playing time. So I thought, oh, I want to try that. And like I said, 2 and 4 just lives over here on my hi-hat, which is so great when I play jazz. And those are the kind of things that make you a better player, but also other jazz players will be like, wow, you know, the timing, the feel, everything is so great, and that's a part of it. Believe it or not, that hi-hat playing 2 and 4 just adds life to the music sometimes, but it's also a really great independence. So if you see me doing it and it's not written, don't worry about it. It's just something that I automatically do. Try it. If you can't do it, take it away. Okay, so let's demonstrate this at 80 beats per minute and at 100 beats per minute. So with number 2, we're going to explore our drum set, okay? So what's going to happen on this one is we're going to play single stroke roll, right, left, right, left, right, left. But it's going to be floor tom, 2 snares, small tom, 2 snares. So it gives us 1 triplet, 2 triplet. Once we've got that, we've got the whole fill, because we just got to repeat it do it again. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, okay? Now, you'll also notice as I'm playing these fills, and usually when I play jazz, whether it's in the play-alongs or if you've seen me play live, we got to get away from that whole rock vibe and don't crash on the one. You know, like we don't have to do that because the music that we're learning has pushes and it has different types of feels and senses of time. So sometimes crashing on the one sort of loses the momentum or loses the real feel and overall approach of the music. So sometimes I might come out of a fill and I might just lean into my ride cymbal a little bit more as opposed to playing with the tip. I might kind of lean in a little bit more. Like, let me just give you an example and then I'll show you number 2, okay? I'll go like this. So if you notice, the first time when I came out of my fill, I kind of pushed a little bit with the shoulder of the stick, sort of into the bottom of the ride, just to sort of like, okay, there's the one. But I don't want to lay into a crash cymbal because that is just so stylistically incorrect in that style of music, you know. Unless you're playing big band, we're talking trio jazz, you know, quartets, quintets in small rooms, playing for corporate events, or, you know, where the music is meant to be very gentle and not so explosive that you're going to be scaring your audience away. So keep in mind, after your fills, you can either go straight back to time or maybe just lean into your ride cymbal a little bit more to emphasize the one, okay? So let's talk about fill number 2. Okay, so like I said, it's floor tom and 2 snares, small tom and 2 snares. Now this one you got to think, because I see a lot of my students, it's funny, I want them to play single stroke roll and they start playing right, left, right, left, and it's like, no, just keep it simple. It's right, left, right, left. And it's weird because we're in groups of 3s, right? We're in triplets, so this might be strange for some of you that haven't practiced this, but let me do this really slow and just watch my sticking. I'm gonna play it like ridiculously slow, okay? So I'm sure some of you are looking, oh man, that's weird. You know, and it is. I'm not going to argue. It's totally weird. And I was just showing this to a student at home the other day, and he couldn't get it. He was probably 13 years old, and he's like, what are you doing there? And I said, it's funny how the single stroke roll can be such a challenge. But I'll play it a little quicker for you, and then once you get the feel, your ears kind of take over. You know, your ears will hear what's happening, and the ears will tell the brain, put that left hand up there to get that tom, and you want to keep switching hands per tom, so the single stroke roll will start to work for you. You'll totally know what I mean when it happens for you. Here it is a little quicker, okay? You know, and the reason I like to teach this one second is because that first fill we did, if you remember the first one we did, was a single stroke roll on the snare drum accenting the quarter notes. This is the same thing. We're just putting those accents somewhere else. Instead of going 1 triplet, 2 triplet, we're going 1 triplet, 2 triplet. It's the same thing. So just, you know, explore the possibilities. That's what I always say with this one. Now, I want you guys to practice this one with a single stroke roll. You have to, just to get that out of the way. Now, another way you can play number 2 is the right, left concept. I love this one. And it's right, left. Left hand stays on the snare. Right, left. So that's all you're doing is going right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. It's the same thing. Here it is. So I would suggest practicing both ways because, the single stroke roll one is very visual, it looks really cool, and the right, left, left concept gets you practicing your left hand, especially with those doubles. So that's a really great thing to do. Then you've got the possibilities of both. So you're kind of getting the bonus fills out of this deal today. Okay, so let me demonstrate this with time at 80 beats per minute and at 100. So number 3 is a primary example of how I said don't treat these as simple fills because of the word beginner. Now, you look at it and you go, wow, that looks pretty easy. And absolutely, it's very easy, okay? Now, with this one, I do want to use the right, left, left concept, okay? You can play it as a single stroke roll, but I use this one playing right, left, left. And what it is it's the ride cymbal and the bass drum playing together. Now, bass drum, very soft, heel down soft, okay? And the snares playing left, left. So here is the fill, okay? Now, some of you might be wondering, well, how do you play that with a single stroke roll? Well, there's a couple ways. You could do it where you play 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, or if you have a bigger crash or another ride on your left, you can go 1 triplet, 2 triplets. So same kind of idea that we did with the toms in the last fill, but now we're hitting the cymbal and adding the bass drum. So once again, up to you. Explore those possibilities. I use them all. So I don't really just have one way of playing this fill. I'm going to demonstrate a couple of cool examples for you guys in a second. But here it is as a single stroke roll using 2 cymbals. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. Now, real quickly here, let me show you where I use this one a lot. This is great. Watch this. So you notice how it interrupts the flow of time, still keeps time going, but adds something kind of cool. And all I was doing there was right, left, left, kind of quick. So down the road, guys, down the road, practice that, because I always say that jazz doesn't stay beginner for very long because you want to push your limits to get better and faster. And all of my jazz students are always pushing themselves to the point where they're going, wow, I want to be able to do that. So they realize the importance of trying some of these things with a whole new concept, because unless you're playing music that's always slow, you're going to want to take these and flavor them up a little bit. So definitely have some fun with that. So let's demonstrate this one at 80 and 100 beats per minute. And I'll do it as the right, left, left concept. So in this next fill, this one is cool because it takes a little bit of practice to get this one going fast. Doing it slow, not such a problem, okay? All triplet based, no rests anywhere, okay? We're gonna play single stroke roll on the snare drum, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, okay? And then floor tom and snare together on the 3 triplet, 4 triplet. So you're going from single stroke roll to unison triplets. So the flow of the rhythm is being interrupted with your hands, but not with the rhythm itself, okay? 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. So a little bit more physical effort at the end, okay? So here it is nice and slow. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. So with that one, you can explore possibilities of playing singles wherever you like and putting the unisons together on toms or a cymbal on a tom or whatever. Once again, get creative with these fills. These are just beginner ideas. Make them your own, okay? So that one's kind of fun. Let's demonstrate this one at 80 and 100 beats per minute. And last but not least in this lesson is a pretty cool fill that I learned a long time ago that I'm still to this day trying to work on to get it faster because it's pretty visual, but it's also very musical. It's not always about visual, but visual is fun too. It's fun to watch a great drummer play. What's happening with this one is it's all single stroke roll, but what's going to happen is you're going to play floor tom, snare drum, floor tom, and then your hands shift over to small tom, snare drum, small tom. So it's right, left, right, left, right, left. So essentially, it's not that hard of a fill. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It's just 2 groups of 3 notes, and then we repeat that whole thing. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. And the reason it's hard to get really fast is because you're constantly changing lanes in traffic, as I call it. It's like, you're going to wipe out or run into somebody. So let's do it slow. Here it is nice and slow. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. So you can have some fun with that one just on its own, but let's demonstrate this one at 80 and 100 beats per minute with time. All right, gang, so I hope you enjoyed these fills. Now, keep in mind, something very important we should understand about jazz fills is, when do we play them? Well, it depends on the song. I said with any song, whether it be a rock song or a funk song or heavy metal or jazz. Usually with the play-alongs, a lot of the stuff that we have here on Edge, you might be playing fills at the end of a 4-bar phrase or at the end of an 8-bar phrase, which is really great for learning. Those are the kind of things that, we want to practice just to get the feel happening. But in a real jazz situation, you probably won't be playing fills as often as you would maybe in a rock tune that has a lot of fills. But there might be times where you have to play 2-measure fills in a specific song, or you might have to play 4-measure fills, or it really depends on the song, right? So the more you start listening to jazz, you'll sort of hear when the drummers are filling. But also keep in mind that you guys are going to start learning how to do something called trading 4s down the road, okay? And that means you're trading solos with another member in the band. And you can take any one of these ideas, play them 4 times, and there's your 4-bar solo. You could take any one of these 5 and play 4 of them back to back. Maybe practice that as well. So then you're sort of building your vocabulary for mini solos, a lot of mini solos, right? Because the jazz drummer's role is to keep time, obviously, but to accompany the band and to complement the band. And sometimes there are spaces where we can throw fills in. Sometimes they may not be for a full measure. Sometimes they might just be a half measure. Like I said, the world is your ocean. Once you start listening to jazz more and really understanding where you can play fills. So don't get too caught up on, do I have to play a fill at the end of every 4-bar phrase when it comes to playing in a professional setting. But usually, for me, if I could think of a real simple example, maybe the song So What by Miles Davis. The only time I would play a fill is at the end of the melody. Maybe the melody's been playing for a while. That could be 16 measures, right? Maybe the soloist is going to play, a trumpet player or a sax player is going to play. I don't want to be filling through his solo. I don't want instruments thrown at me, right? So maybe at the end of that, when it's the next instrumentalist time to solo, then you could throw in a fill at that point. But once again, listening is key. I've mentioned it before in a lot of my other DVDs and other jazz lessons. Jazz is ear music. You got to listen. You really got to listen to what's going on, get to know the songs, and explore. But these exercises are for you to really build your vocabulary for jazz. And once you listen to it a lot more, you'll totally understand what I'm talking about. So thanks for checking out these lessons, and I'll see you in the next one.